Video 39, the 39th video in my series of Why Aren't People Angry About This videos. And this is Earth Day, and I look like a hippie. This is as long as my hair is going to get, I think. I'm going to get it cut before I do the next video. But today, the subject is no football on a dead planet. So, this is a football. And this is the Earth. Which one would you say first? It's obvious, you would think. The European Super League. This is what some English fans, I think Manchester United fans, thought about the European Super League. If you're watching this from anywhere apart from Europe, you'll probably have no idea what I'm even talking about. But since I kind of need to explain it anyway to arrive at my strange segue into the demise of the linotype operator, and if you don't know what that is, I'll explain that later as well. But in the meantime, this is what it is. So basically, here in Europe, we play football. That's soccer. You know, the proper game of football. The one where you actually kick the ball with your foot rather than dressing up in body armour and throwing it. Think David Beckham. So, the way this sport works is like other sports, well, with the exception of wrestling. Is that even a sport? Anyway, the way it works is that if you want to play in the big competitions, you have to qualify by essentially beating other teams at playing football and being better at this sport than the other people who also want to qualify. All seems fair so far? Yes, of course. So football has increasingly become more unsporting over the last couple of decades, in as much as there is so much money in it now that big business is essentially taking it over. Big business is taking over the big clubs that can now afford to buy the very best players. So much so that the average monthly salary of a top flight player in the UK is around £240,000 per month, compared with £39,000 per year for the average UK supporter. So your average UK supporter would need to work for 6 years to earn just 1 month's salary of the football player whose name he chants from the stands on a Saturday afternoon. Or, and I'm sorry, but I have to put this number through my calculator. I put it through so many times that I still can't believe how big it is. But you would need, your average UK worker would need to work 74 years to earn as much as a football player does in 1 year. 74 years! But this obscene disparity is made worse by the fact that the average UK male only has a working life of less than 40 years, and for a UK female it's even less. So what has this got to do with sustainability? Quite a lot actually, so do stick around. So anyway, the teams with the best players tend to win. But now, at the time of recording this, Earth Day, there has been a move for 12 of the top clubs in Europe to create a breakaway Super League, European Super League, where the clubs sign a 20-year contract. I'm not sure of the exact number of years, it's not important. Anyway, they sign this contract to play in this league regardless of performance. And if you're still wondering what this has got to do with climate change, stick around because I will explain in the next segment. And don't forget to stick around for the Why Aren't People Angry About This postbag, because some people are very, very angry indeed. But if you don't have time to watch this entire video just now, why not, after wiggling the like button, subscribe to my channel and then check back later. It's entirely free to do so. Is it really a choice between greed and football? And is it really a choice between greed and green? The football analogy really does work here because you have a sport that's able to pay its best players 74 times more than the average wage in the UK. And now they want more money with guaranteed future earnings, not based on actually being good at playing football, but having a brand. A bit like your Gucci toaster. You'll buy it like you do the handbag, not because of its quality, because it says Gucci on it. I actually once did this with a David Bowie album. 2, actually. Never Let Me Down. Let just about everybody down. But anyway, look, I'm a big David Bowie fan and he's not here to defend himself any longer. And out of the 30 albums or whatever I've got of his, he's only let me down twice. So it's not bad, but an example. Anyway, I digress. So, you are an oil company, a car manufacturer, a purveyor of fine tobacco, plastic bottles, or some other multinational that is investing millions in the business of greed over green. So let's connect it all here. What is happening here is that the European Super League wants to join the greed party. Greed, not green, greed party. No matter whether it's good for the sport, and are happy to kill it as an actual sport. You know, the actual competition where somebody is better than somebody else and that's how you win a game. And to turn it into a series of exhibition matches. Perhaps goalies will be taught to do the perfect made-for-television diving save, and the entire match can be carefully choreographed like wrestling. The beautiful game. The beautiful game. Anyway, let's call this greed over sport. Do you see where I'm going with this now? Big business has taken over football and they don't want to work in the best interest of the sport or the fans. We're doing it for the fans. They'll have much more matches midweek too. Bollocks. It is the same big business that is running oil, petrol, cars, fashion, industrial farming, abattoirs, Nestle, Coca-Cola, bottled water, pointless brands and pointless consumerism. They do not have your best interests at heart. They don't have my best interests at heart. They don't have the Earth's best interests at heart. Look, these footballers have enough money so they can keep their greed without destroying the sport. Although there is something seriously obscene with earning 74 times more than the average guy just because you can kick a bag of wind around better than someone else. And the corporations and the multinationals have enough money too. The average director salary at a Fortune 500 company is 115 times higher than the average worker. I think it's fair to say there's some real wiggle room there. So why won't they invest in greener energy? Why must they be dragged kicking and screaming by the likes of Tesla to produce electric cars? Why are they still looking for oil reserves and subsidised by governments to do so? Why are they still burning down rainforest? But if we close down the oil industry, 145,000 workers will lose their jobs. It's not about us, it's about the workers. This is not about the workers. Never has been, never will be. Nobody gives a about the workers, not even the workers themselves, who will be happy to spend their hard-earned cash having the equivalent of a whip around to pay some guy 74 times as much as they do to kick a bag of wind around on a Saturday afternoon even. No, this is about greed over green. We don't have linotype operators anymore. They are the people who manually line up the type heads to print papers and magazines. When we replaced this with computer typesetting in the 80s and 90s, nobody said, what about the linotype operators? Nobody said, what about the pin setter when they automated bowling alleys? Nobody said, what about the leech collectors before modern medicine kicked in? Nobody said, what about the lector when they invented radio? A lector, by the way, is the guy who used to stand on the factory floor and read the news to the factory workers before radio. The point is, these expendable people can and will reskill. But in less than 7 years, unless we stop climate breakdown, this will become irreversible. And whilst the worker can reskill, the earth will not be able to re-heal. This is Earth Day, and every day needs to be Earth Day if we're truly going to avoid heading into the abyss. Our time is running out before climate change is said to become irreversible, and we need to change now, not for our governments to be tied in knots for years by greedy, over-green lobbyists. We need to change now. These can keep their yachts, their SUVs, they can keep snorting cocaine or whatever the it is they spend that kind of money on. I seriously have no idea. They can even keep looking down their noses at ordinary people, but do it with some respect for both ordinary people and the planet we share. We need to stop exploring for oil. We need to stop opening coal mines. We need to invest in green energy, not fossil fuels. We need to be moving towards a more plant-based diet. We need to look at air travel as a luxury. We need to treat plastic with a reverence that something that lasts up to 400 years deserves, not as something we use for a minute and then discard. We need to drive less. We need to consume less. We need government to take action and not the smoke and mirrors of carbon offset or carbon neutral whilst essentially importing carbon from other countries. There is no football on a dead planet. We need to be like Bhutan, an amazing story and definitely the subject of a future video. But for now, let me leave you with this sobering thought. As of this morning, our Prime Minister, Boris Johnson, has threatened to intervene in the whole European Super League issue, while simultaneously subsidising fossil fuels. If we can't let corporate greed destroy sport, why is it okay to let it destroy the planet? If you care about this stuff, please do share this video and subscribe to my channel. It really does help me in spreading the word, and I do appreciate every single subscriber and every single comment. Well, some more than others. You'll see the postbag coming up in a minute. And indeed, don't forget to pump the like button. Coming up next is the postbag. Okay, so welcome to the postbag. We have all sent messages, we've all sent emails, we've all sent texts that you read back the following day and you oh bugger, you know, I put the wrong emphasis there, it's been read in the wrong way. I remember one in particular, I think I was in a different country and a friend had sent this sort of long email or text or something to a group of people with some trouble they were having, and it was like nearly midnight, so I just put the sleepy face on it and sent it back. And anyway, the way everybody read it was that I was calling them boring, and I wasn't. And it's easy to do that sort of stuff. But anyway, this week's message from JR from Dallas in Texas. JR, is that Junior? Does that mean Junior? I think it does, doesn't it? Junior, or JR from Dallas in Texas, makes no mistake. He's gone straight for it. And this is what JR has to say. Don't listen to the lies in this video. This guy is a moron. Which was nice. I think it's one of my favourites, actually. They think it's all over. It is now.